Hello, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. There are good reasons that some recipes are handed down and enjoyed through the years. Well, today I'm going to give you recipes that have not only stood the test of time, but have also stood the taste of time. They are next on SoFlo Taste. How fun is that? Hello and welcome, y'all. I'm Michelle Bernstein. Welcome to the fabulous Goya Kitchen and the Culinary Lab at Florida Education Institute in Coral Gables. Do you remember Waldorf Salad's beef stroganoff and pineapple upside down cake? Trust me, your parents do, and maybe even your grandparents. And by the way, we should too, because they're great dishes and should still be enjoyed. So today I thought it would be fun to revive those old recipes. So let's get cooking. All right, Waldorf salad. My mother always made it with chicken. I'm gonna make it without, just to make it all vegetarian. So we've got some green grapes, and I'm gonna cut them the way I think I showed you one time. It's a little trick. You know those takeout containers that a lot of people have? This is the lid of it. And the lid is upright so that it has kind of a beveled shape. Put some grapes in there, cover it with the same lid upside down. And then take a knife and keep it as straight as you can, and then just cut the grapes in half like so. All right, it makes it a lot faster. All right, in this bowl I've got some Greek yogurt, a little bit of mayo. Boy, did they love mayo in the 50s. Let me tell you, I wasn't around, but I heard. All right, a little bit of lemon juice. Glenn, were you around in the 50s?
Yes.
Did people like a lot of mayo?
Yes.
That's what I thought. All right.
Miracle Whip.
Miracle Whip. And how about all of those gelatin shapes, right? People made a lot of gelatin shape molds of all kinds. All right. So some fresh squeezed lemon. Let's go ahead and mix that up good. I'm going to swap that out for a whisk. And whisk up your dressing until it's really well combined and homogeneous. There we go, nice and creamy. All right, let's keep chopping. So let's add those sliced grapes into that. Let's add a few more. I love the grape part of it. That's one of my favorite parts. The grapes and the celery, I think, are my favorite part of this salad. Now, if you wanted to, you can turn this into a chicken Waldorf. Like I said, my mama used to make that. And you can just buy a rotisserie chicken, so you don't have to roast one yourself, or you can roast one yourself. All right, next we're gonna take some celery. And normally people just slice it, but I like it a little bit smaller, so I'm going to cut it in half. Like so. And then slice it up nice and thin. Layer them all up so you don't have to go one by one by one. And go as thin as you can. So that you have smaller pieces of celery. There we go. So pretty and green. All right, let's add that to the mix. Next, let's take some lovely toasted walnuts. You always want to toast your nuts before adding it into anything, because they're so much better when you toast them in the oven. Maybe that's a little too much. And let's go ahead and just roughly chop these up. Just like so. Not too fine. You don't lose them in there because they're so yummy. Now, if you don't or can't eat nuts, just don't throw them in here. Everything else would be yummy enough as it is. And celery has such a great crunch to it. You won't miss it. All right, you can use your favorite apples. I love the sour Granny Smith for this. But if you love Honey Crisps, then use Honey Crisps. It's up to you. Now, I'm not peeling it, obviously, but if you want to, you can. Nice diced pieces. This would be about 1/2 of an inch, maybe a hair less, of apple. And this is just one apple that we're using for this one. I think that that is pretty much enough for this salad. All right. Lastly, we're going to add a little bit of chopped parsley. This is Italian parsley going in. And finally, we have some celery leaves. Probably one of my favorite things in the whole world. I know it's weird, but I love celery leaves. Some freshly cracked black pepper and some honey. I'm going to stir this up and then put it onto a little dish and come right back because we have so many more beautiful retro and fun ideas to just go back in time using food as our driving force. I will see you here in a minute back at SoFlo Taste. SoFloShows.com is a great place to celebrate the food of South Florida. It's also the place to ask me a question or make a comment, especially a good comment. Again, SoFloShows.com.
Come back to the Goya Kitchen at the Culinary Lab at Florida Education Institute. Chef Michelle and the food. This is SoFlo Taste.
Hello again, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. Thanks for coming back to SoFlo Tastes and Recipes of some blasts from the past. So, just an FYI, that beautiful Waldorf salad that sits in front of me comes from, obviously, the Waldorf Hotel. I don't know why I didn't mention it before. And it's from 1893. I think it's held up pretty well, don't you? All right, so let's jump into another really good old recipe. This is beef stroganoff, and this is actually a lot of people's favorite recipe. A lot of chefs make this for like meals for the kitchen because it's a really just good, stick to your rib, delicious, delicious dish. All right, so you've got some noodles on the side. A lot of people make egg noodles. I've already seared off the steak, so in this recipe, we're using a beautiful ribeye steak, and this ribeye came to us from Milam's Markets. They are helping me today with my old school recipes, by the way, with their wide selection of deli salads. But here's Milam's classic throwback. It's their Grandma Joan Milam's famous pound cake, a perfect starter finish to so many desserts. Visit any of the 6 Milam's Markets in SoFlo or go to milamsmarkets.com. I'll see you at Milam's. All right. So I'm taking that fat. This was coated in just a touch of flour, salt and pepper, seared, again, ribeye steak. So don't cook it too much because it's so beautiful. I'm gonna add I added a little more fat to this pan. I'm adding now the onions, mushrooms, salt, black pepper, and we're going to add the rest of the butter into the pan. I only seared the steak. So again, I salt, peppered, and delicately floured the ribeye that's cut up nice and small. I seared it really fast. I pulled it off so it's still very rare on the inside because we're going to add it back to the pan to create a sauce. So I'm going to add to this a little bit of garlic. These old recipes always ask for things like seasoned salt. So we found a Lowry's seasoned salt. If you don't want to use something like that, I mean, it probably has some MSG in it, which I have no problem with, but if you do, don't use it. Doesn't matter. Just use salt and pepper. And once you start seeing the mushrooms sweat, you know you're almost there. It smells so good in here. All right, we're going to add the tiniest little bit of Dijon mustard, which is in a lot of these old recipes. A lot of these old sauces are made with mustard. And to make the gravy just a touch more flour, some fresh thyme, although in the older recipes, I'm sure it was dried thyme. A little bit of beef broth. Let that all come together. And then some Worcestershire. My mother loved Worcestershire. She put it in so many different things. So because of the flour that we put in here, as well as the flour that is on the steak, this will turn into a beautifully thick gravy. But the last thing that you add after this cooks for just like a minute is the sour cream. So we're going to finish it with a little bit of sour cream, or a lot of sour cream. But a lot of these recipes, I mean, you'll find so many recipes with sour cream in them. Things that people would call salads. I think that they even, I saw one time like a molded recipe of like gelatin mixed with sour cream as well. It's really funny when you look at these old like retro recipes. They were not afraid of mayonnaise or sour cream, that is for sure. So this is about it. Let's go ahead and taste it for seasoning. It's delicious. I don't want it to be as good as it is, but it is so delicious. All right. See how beautifully nice and thick it is? So all you have to do is pour this over your noodles. And while I do so, you can come right back because I got another beautiful recipe. Of course, a little sweet finale for y'all. SoFlo Taste will return right after this.
It's a Milam's Markets Minute. Here's Melinda Harper.
Christy, we are about to throw an amazing party. I'd say maybe a rager. And it's going to be fun, but all of this is, you wouldn't guess, but it is non-alcoholic and zero proof. Athletic Brewing is one of the well-known, highest-selling non-alcoholic brands, but we also have a new one which is called Best Day Brewing. You can also try these aperitifs or some zero-proof cocktails that Recess makes.
Okay, some mojitos.
And I have never tried this before, but this is zero-proof liquor, so rum, whiskey, vodka.
That is so interesting. You know, this has come a long way. If you really like the flavor of an alcohol or you love the flavor of a martini, you can have it and not have those side effects. Christy, this is an amazing selection of non-alcoholic beverages here at Milam. So how do customers come out to find it?
You can stop by our winery at any of our 6 locations in South Florida, or if you want to just order it online for delivery, simply go to milamsmarkets.com and we'll deliver it to your door.
I invite you to come out to a store and see the selection for yourself. It is amazing. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. I'm here in the Culinary Lab at Florida Education Institute. Earn your diploma in Culinary Arts, Pastry and Baking Arts, Associates of Applied Sciences, or Culinary and Hospitality Management. Graduate from any of these FEI Culinary Arts programs and begin your exciting new career. By the way, new classes start in just a few days. For more information on those classes and their Chef Master Series, visit fei.edu/culinary-arts or call the admissions department at 305-444-1515. Now back to the taste. All right, everyone, our last recipe, this great retro recipe. Who hasn't heard of a pineapple upside down cake? What's funny is I've actually never tried one, if you can believe it. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you all that, but I've always wanted to make one. So let's jump in. Right now I'm in the middle of creaming some butter and sugar, and that's almost there. Once that is well combined, go ahead and add in an egg. And let's wait until this gets good and creamy. Once it does, add in your baking powder, salt, vanilla, and you will alternate between all-purpose flour and whole milk. Okay. Once all of that is well combined, just make sure you take a rubber spatula or anything you've got around and push down the flour to make sure that it's all incorporated into the batter. All right, now it's time to start putting this all together. It is an upside down cake. And most upside down cakes are pretty much made the same way. You've got some melted butter. That goes in first. By the way, you always put parchment paper on the bottom so it doesn't stick, because it's going to want to burn, and it won't with a parchment paper. So spread around that melted butter. Then you've got some brown sugar crumbled around the bottom, which caramelizes during baking, which really makes it just beautiful. And that gets spread around really well around the pan. Now, if pineapple's not your thing, obviously you can make this recipe with any fruit that might be in season. But in this retro recipe, it's all about the canned pineapple. So if you want to use fresh, you can. But this is just one of those fun, old, retro things. Place as many pineapples as you can around and in the center. I always love to take a little bit of the juice that is left over and pour it around. And then traditionally, you will always find a maraschino cherry. Could we get more 50s and 60s? Right in the center of each pineapple ring, like so. Go ahead and take your mixture. Oh, by the way, if you want, you can flavor this with coconut. You can add some spices to it. You can throw cinnamon, allspice. It's really up to you. You can turn this into a little bit more of, let's just say, a more daring flavor or something that you like at home. But right now, this is just a very simple vanilla cake mix. Just make sure you go nice and slow over the top so you're not moving any of the pineapple. Go ahead and start spooning the cake mixture over the pineapple. It doesn't look like enough, but trust me, as you bake it, it spreads out, it starts to fluff. And as you come back, I will show you what I mean. I'll see you in just a minute. I'll finish this recipe right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste here, talking about these beautiful old retro style dishes. Here is our pineapple upside down cake. Let's give it a nice little slice. And I love that the edges stay nice and crisp. Every other part of it seems beautifully tender. As I was talking about earlier, I've never actually tried a pineapple upside down cake. Mom never made one, but this looks beautiful. It's just perfect. Yay! I mean, look, even though we may not see these dishes on menus anymore, it's not because they aren't great. And if you try these at home, I'm sure you'll join me in my grassroots campaign to bring these retro recipes back from the edge of extinction and into the spotlight of today's culinary scene. Or at least try them. They're really good. So taste buds, let's get together next time because I love cooking for you and with you. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste.